Week 8, NFL Power Rankings. Let's get it. Number 32, the Houston Texans. Listen to this. When the Texans took over on offense late in the fourth quarter, trailing 17-3 to the Tennessee Titans, they had a total of 71 yards for the game. Hard pause to just seriously let that sink in. Consider that. The Texans are just really, really bad at football. And as much as I don't want to say that, I don't want to think that, they're fucking terrible. And the worst part about it is they're like not even close, not even anywhere near competing. And it's so sad. Like I watched highlights of this game with like the Sarah McLachlan music playing in the background. And I felt like I wanted to dig into my wallet and like donate to their cause. It's just so bad. Number 31, Las Vegas Raiders. Like... Really, Raiders? Really? Listen, the only reason why I don't have them ranked dead last is because the Texans are really just that bad. But honestly, the expectations that the Raiders had coming into this season and have them playing this bad, they really should be the worst. They should be ranked last. Let's talk about this game that they played on Sunday. And I use the word played very loosely. Let's fast forward to the 2-minute warning of the fourth quarter. The Raiders are down 24-0 to the fucking Saints, and there's 2 minutes left in the game. It was at this moment that the most positive thing for the Raiders on Sunday actually happened. This was when, for the first time in the entire fucking game, the Raiders crossed the 50-yard line. For the first time in the entire game, you guys went into your opponent's territory at the 2-minute warning of the game. I'm just dumbfounded. Like, I don't even know. Like, Josh Jacobs had 10 carries. The best offensive player on the fucking team had 10 carries. I'll tell you what, Josh McDaniels is giving Nathaniel Hackett a run for his money at worst coach of the year. Number 30, Detroit Lions. Oh man, the Lions offense was humming in the first half against the Dolphins, weren't they? They seemed like they were ready for a shootout. All the talks about their offensive struggles the last couple of weeks, it kind of went out the window in their first half. But then came halftime, and the Lions came out in the second half looking like the same old fucking Lions. To be fair, the Dolphins' offense was holding on to the ball. The Lions only had the ball 3 times in the second half. But those 3 times that they had the ball, they really shit the bed and did absolutely nothing with it. Another bad loss for the Lions just continues to shit on the early season expectations. Number 29. Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, so the Steelers kind of ran into the Eagles at a pretty bad time. The Steelers didn't really show up for that Battle of Pennsylvania. Now, did the terrible performance drops them to 2-6. Rookie quarterback Kenny Pickett did not look good. He looked a little lost. And the Steelers offense was 1 for 12 on third down. Yeah, that's not going to cut it against one of the best teams in football. I'm just saying. Number 28, Jacksonville Jaguars. In a surprise move, the Jaguars trade away James Robinson to the New Jersey Jets. And all that did was open up an opportunity for Travis Etienne to just ball the fuck out. Now on Sunday morning, the Jaguars were in London to play the Denver Broncos, and all they did was put on display the extreme talent they have in their backfield. Now they lost the game. That's their 5th straight loss, but that's to be expected because they're the fucking Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence looks terrible again. Defense looks lost again. And the Jaguars just keep on slipping down the abyss of irrelevancy. Will anybody really miss them? Number 27, Carolina Panthers. Yo, PJ Walker had a rough first half. I'll give you that. But the second half was the polar opposite of that. He led a Panthers offense that not only came back in this game, but he also threw a 62-yard bomb. A Hail Mary pass that DJ Moore came down with in the end zone to tie the game with 12 seconds left in the game. Now, if you didn't see this game or highlights of this game, more specifically this exact play, then I'm over here questioning your fandom of the NFL. Because this was one of the most exciting endings I have ever seen. DJ Moore catches the touchdown, ties the game. DJ Moore wants to celebrate this ridiculous play. DJ Moore takes his helmet off in celebration. DJ Moore doesn't realize that that's a big no-no. DJ Moore is penalized 15 yards on the extra point. And the extra point is missed because it's a 48-yard kick. To overtime we go. Panthers march down the field, line up for a field goal, a nice little chip shot, 33-yard field goal to win the game. Panthers fans gotta be happy because the fuck up by DJ Moore in the end zone didn't hurt them. Except that 33-yard kick was wide left, and the Falcons proceeded to go down the field and kick their own game-winning field goal, and the Panthers lose a heartbreaker. And all the while, DJ Moore is on the bench, and the camera keeps going back to him to see his reaction. And my dude is just sitting there stoic, like he's unfazed. Truth be told, it almost looks like he's got a grin on his fucking face. I'll tell you what, though, the look that I kept on seeing was, I don't give a shit. I ain't gonna be here much longer. It was a damn shame. Number 26, Chicago Bears. On Sunday in Dallas, the Bears lost this game because of their defensive performance, not the offense. That has not been the norm the first 7 games of the year. Justin Fields actually looked kind of decent in this game. He was making some decent passes, and you know what? He didn't turn the ball over. He did his job. The offense did their job. But defensively, early on in the game, the Bears couldn't keep up with the Cowboys' offense. And this game was moving very quickly towards a fucking blowout. Now, the Bears' offense did make a nice little comeback, made the game interesting. But once again, it was the Bears' defense that collapsed, and the Cowboys just took off again. The Bears traded away Robert Quinn to the Eagles. Yesterday, they traded away Roquan Smith to the Ravens. Bears are out in Chicago just waving that white flag. Looking forward to the draft. Number 25, Arizona Cardinals. DeAndre Hopkins is a fucking beast. This man is amazing. On Sunday, he had 12 more catches. He now has 22 catches in 2 games. Now, that's excellent news for Cardinals fans moving forward. But what would be even better than that is if the Cardinals would win some fucking games. The Cardinals lose to the Vikings and drop to 3-5 simply because DeAndre Hopkins can't do it all. He's the only one making plays. There is definite talent out in the desert, but right now that talent is not translating to wins. Number 24, Denver Broncos. This dude had the balls. He must have been wearing his big set on Sunday. This dude at the end of the game, after the win over the Jaguars, being interviewed, looked dead in the camera and said, "Let's ride, baby." Does he not know? Does somebody want to tell him? Every time you say that, bruh, you are being clowned all over the internet. Listen, Russell Wilson is good enough. He's a good enough quarterback to turn this thing around. But the season is starting to get late. We're almost at the halfway point. They get an ugly win against the Jaguars, which was good for them. But there were definite points of this game where Russ and friends didn't look good. Number 23, Tampa Bay Bucks. So Tom Brady publicly announced his divorce. And this came after a Thursday night loss to the Ravens, dropping the Bucks to 3-5. And all I'm sitting here wondering is Giselle going to want to take half his shit? And I keep on hearing Eddie Murphy in the back of my head. Half! Give me half, Mr. Fuck You, man. You can't help but wonder if this is affecting his play on the field. He's overthrowing his receivers. He's underthrowing his receivers, missing them like 4 yards short. And on Thursday night, he was 1 for 5 on passes in the red zone. That ain't Tom Brady. And as a Tom Brady fan, it's hard to watch. Listen, I think his divorce is going to do one of 2 things. It's either going to fuck him up for the rest of the season or fuel his fire, and the NFL needs to watch out if that's the case. Number 22, Cleveland Browns. Well, I'll be damned. The Browns actually go back and focus on the run game, and they got a dominant win over a division rival. Who would have thunk it? Actually, I think we all would have thunk it. We've been saying it. We've all been saying it. I saw a sign in the stands during the game last night. It was a picture of Chris Farley screaming like the Saturday night skit about the man in the van by the lake. And the caption said, "Run the ball, Kevin." The head coach, you had to see it. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt ran all over the Bengals. In fact, late in the game, when the game was over, Dearness Johnson came in and he ran all over the Bengals. Now, while they finally did put their run game in the forefront, it's worth mentioning that Jacoby Brissett to Amari Cooper was a pretty badass. That Jacoby Brissett throwing the ball to Amari Cooper was pretty badass last night. Last night, for just one game, the Browns looked like a playoff contender. Now, can that be sustained? That's the question. Number 21, Green Bay Packers. These Packers, they're in trouble. Injuries are definitely a part of the NFL. We all know that. But damn, the Packers are literally falling apart at wide receiver. Sunday Night Football in Buffalo. The Packers' lead receivers were Romeo Doubs, Sammy Watkins, and some guy named Torrey. Now, the unfortunate thing for the Packers is that they were down by double digits most of this game. And we all know what that does is it forces you to throw the ball. I say that that's unfortunate because Aaron Jones had himself a fuck of a game. That dude was shredding the Bills' defense. In the fourth quarter, after the Bills took their foot off the gas, the Packers made it somewhat interesting. But ultimately, it was too little, too late. Packers dropped to 3-5 and quickly are fading from playoff contention. Number 20, Los Angeles Rams. So the Rams lost a very convincing road game at home on Sunday. Yeah, I said what I said. Their opponent, the San Francisco 49ers, came in with their fans and they just squat at SoFi Stadium. It seems like they brought their entire fucking fan base with them. Who knows? Maybe that's why the Rams played like absolute shit. But I assure you, they played like shit. Their run game consists of a guy named Ronnie Rivers, Darrell Henderson, and Malcolm Brown. Shit, I wonder if that had anything to do with Matthew Stafford taking off and running one in himself. Or maybe that's why their offense just completely disappeared in the second half. Or maybe this just isn't the year for the Rams. Maybe they have a Super Bowl hangover. Maybe they really miss Odell Beckham. Maybe the Rams were just really overrated last year. Maybe the Rams really miss Von Miller. Maybe. Number 19, Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers were on a bye week. They still sit at 4-3. I don't think anybody missed watching them play. I don't know. Maybe one of their 27 fans nationwide missed them playing. But I found it quite refreshing that we didn't have to hear about Justin Herbert for 1 week. Number 18, Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow just cannot beat the Cleveland Browns. It's fucking hilarious. What's even more hilarious is that after the last two games, everyone was okay with being right back on Joe Burrow's nutsack. Now, if you remember the last 2 weeks, I credited their offense for being very impressive. But I also mentioned that I wasn't ready to trust this team yet. And last night's game in Cleveland was exactly what I was talking about. Dude, I understand Jamar Chase is out. I get it. But it's not like he was having a dominant season leading up to this. And it's not like the Bengals don't have other weapons. If Cincinnati wants that respect that they so desperately are asking for after being the AFC champions last year, games like last night cannot happen. Number 17, Indianapolis Colts. Damn, this was a heartbreaking loss. I feel for Colts fans, I truly do. Matt Ryan gets benched earlier in the week. Sam Ehlinger gets the start. And from what I watched of the game, he didn't look bad. His mobility, his ability to escape the rush, if he keeps on getting starts for the Colts, that's going to open up opportunities for Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines in the run game. On top of that, he was out there throwing dimes. He established himself as a presence. But at the end of the day, it was the same old Colts. They made some really unforgiving errors, turned the tides, and basically handed the game over to Washington. In my humble opinion, Sam Ehlinger needs to be the starter moving forward. I truly think that they're going to win some games with him under center, but I'm not sure that the playoffs are in their future. Number 16, New Orleans Saints. Trade rumors have been swirling around running back Alvin Kamara. And on Sunday against the Raiders, all he did was go out there and promote himself. He said, I am a pimp of a running back. He said, I've been pimping since been pimping. Don't nobody say that now, nothing like you say that now, nothing. By the Saints going out there and manhandling the Raiders, and don't get it twisted, that's what they did. They manhandled the fucking Raiders. They are now only one game behind the Atlanta Falcons for first place in the NFC South. Should they trade Alvin Kamara? I don't know, man. The Bucs are crashing. The Panthers are rebuilding. The Saints could easily steal the division here and get a home playoff game. I am very interested to see how this next week plays out. Number 15, New Jersey Jets. Listen, the Jets defense is legit. There's no denying that. There's also no denying that Zach Wilson is absolute garbage. Zach Wilson looks like the type of kid that looks for a white crayon to color in his zebra on white paper. Little man looked absolutely lost on Sunday against the Patriots. Shorty was running away from defenders like they were bullies coming after his lunch money. It was reported that 6 fans were medically removed from the game and treated for a concussion after being hit in the head by passes that he was throwing away. Munchkin Boy had 3 interceptions on Sunday, one looking worse than the other. Mini-Me put the Jets in a very terrible spot on Sunday, in a game that if he just played serviceably, they could have won. Instead, he went out there and literally had one of the worst performances I have ever seen by a quarterback ever. And it's a damn shame because the coaching staff is not going to see it until it's too late. They are not winning with this quarterback. Number 14, Washington, Taylor Heinicke. Man, fuck a Carson Wentz. We're sitting here talking about Taylor fucking Heinicke. This man is going to give this team the best chance of winning moving forward. Now, on Sunday in Indianapolis, he didn't play his prettiest game, but he balled the fuck out when it mattered most in the fourth quarter, now didn't he? Down 6, under a minute to play, Heinicke hit McLaurin with a 33-yard pass that set them up on the 1-yard line. And guess what happened next? Heinicke dove head first into the end zone like a grown fucking man and gave the Commanders a win, bringing them back to 500 at 4-4. A team that now has hope because Carson Wentz is not under center. Heinicke's in a great position because all he has to do is not suck, and he's better than Wentz. Number 13, New England Patriots. Mac Jones gets the start again for the Patriots, but this time he actually finishes the game too. There was no threat of Bailey Zappi coming in and stealing his job. Jones played the entire game. He played okay. There was nothing special. He did struggle in the red zone. The Patriots was settling for a lot of field goals instead of touchdowns. But luckily their defense played decent. They didn't need to play decent. They were playing against Zach Wilson. But they did hold down the fort, giving them the 4th win of the year. They're now 4-4, back at 500. And it certainly appears like Bill Belichick is going with Mac Jones. Not what I would do, but hey. Number 12, Atlanta Falcons. Birthday boy Marcus Mariota. He literally bookended his day with interceptions. Threw one to start the game, he threw one in overtime. Now, to be fair, the first one in the first quarter was just a ridiculous, tremendous defensive play. There was really not much that Marcus could have done there. And truth be told, his second interception in overtime was the direct result of him being leveled in the pocket. But in between those two plays, he led the Falcons with 3 touchdown passes and an overtime win over the Panthers. His key highlight was in overtime, when he took off running, picked up a first down, and set up the Falcons in field goal range for the game winner. Good night. Happy birthday. Falcons in first place. Number 11, Tennessee Titans. All right. An injury to Ryan Tannehill, it's so sad, allows rookie quarterback Malik Willis to get the start. His first career ever start. And it was against the Texans. My dude must be balling out. Actually, there really wasn't much to see here. Granted, he didn't really need to do anything but turn around and hand the ball to Derrick Henry. But I would really like to have seen what dude could do. Now, while Derrick Henry was rushing for over 200 yards, again, that's like the 4th time in a row he's done that against the Texans. Willis threw the ball 10 times the entire game. He only had 1 pass attempt in the second half. Very weird. I feel like this was the game against the Texans that they could have really saw what they had in this player. But fuck it, right? Mike Vrabel, he knows better. The Titans moved to 5-2, and I'm still less than impressed by this team. However, while I was thinking about them, I was wondering something, and I want to get your opinion. The Jacksonville Jaguars, when they shorten their name from Jaguars, they call them the Jags. The Cardinals call themselves the Cards. The Patriots, the Pats. Now, by that rationale, would it make sense to shorten the Titans to the Tits? Because if that was the case, I might just be able to get on board with rooting for this team. Just imagine it. Just go Tits! Number 10, Miami Dolphins. At one point on Sunday, I flipped this game, and I flipped it on just in time to see some crazy shit. Tua dropped back to pass, looked downfield, shifted all of his weight onto his back foot, leaned way back, and put every ounce of effort into a fucking throw. He looked like he was trying to hit someone on the fucking moon. The ball left his hand and went soaring into the air. And 27 yards down the field, Tyreek Hill was there waiting to catch the ball like a fucking punt. It was just so impressive. What a big arm that man has. The Dolphins spotted the Lions a very big early lead in this game. And then the Dolphins defense shut them down in the second half and allowed the Dolphins to come back and get an impressive win. Well done. Number 9, Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are a running team. We all know this. They're running backs. Lamar Jackson likes to run. They do jet sweeps with their very fast receiver. But in the first half of this Thursday night game between the Ravens and the Bucs, the Ravens had 32 pass plays and just 7 run plays. This was very out of character for the Ravens offense. Maybe that's why they found themselves losing to a very underperforming Bucs team. Now, the second half was a much different story. The Ravens ran the shit out of the ball in the second half. And guess what happened? They took over the game. Now, the Ravens lost some players to injuries in this game. Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman, Gus Edwards all got injured and left the game. But they did pull out a nice win and move them to 5-3. And the day before the trade deadline, they acquire Roquan Smith from the Chicago Bears to beef up that linebacker core. Ravens are doing some things. Number 8, San Francisco 49ers. Man, if you watched any of this game on Sunday between the Niners and the Rams, you would have thought that the game was in San Francisco. The entire crowd was red. Why does Kyle Shanahan dominate his buddy Sean McVay the way he does? Does he ever feel bad? Why does Christian McCaffrey have to be so good? A touchdown pass, a touchdown catch, a touchdown run? Okay. I'm guessing that's what San Francisco was looking for when they traded for him. Why so many questions? Maybe it's because I'm still not sure what to make of this team. Why do they dominate one week and then look like poop the next? Number 7, New Jersey Giants. The style in which the Giants played in Seattle on Sunday was definitely in keeping with the way they've been winning games in the recent past. Very, very ugly. Now, if at the beginning of the season I told you that in week 8, the Giants were in Seattle to take on the Seahawks, and this would be the only game of the week where 2 winning teams are playing against each other. 1, you'd be like, no fucking way. 2, you'd be like, there's no fucking way that the Giants and Seahawks are both winning teams. The Giants made some really costly mistakes in this game. Richie James, a special teams player, fumbled the ball not once, but twice. And that proved way too much for the Giants to handle. Offensively, the Giants did not look good at all. Both Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley both just looked awful. And this is a loss that the Giants really need to shake off and shake off quickly. Chalk it up to a road loss in a tough environment. You're still sitting at 6-2, which is a friggin' great record to have. And let's keep it moving. Number 6, Seattle Seahawks. So the Seahawks win a game beating the Giants at their own game. This is how the Giants have been winning. Ugly game. But the Seahawks, feeding off of that crowd, pulled out a very nice win against a very good team. Pete Carroll is out here looking like a damn genius for going with Geno Smith. But then again, what was his other option? Drew Lock? Maybe he's not a genius. Maybe it's just circumstance. Number 5, Minnesota Vikings. After a nice win over the Cardinals on Sunday, the Vikings are the proud owner of the largest division lead in the NFL. However, that being said, while the Vikings sit at 6-1, you would think they'd be one of the elite teams in the NFL. Yet they continue to make things difficult for themselves. Look, you can't take away those losses. They've got 6 wins for a reason. But the Vikings really need to clean up the little things that they're doing. They need to close out games. A perfect example came on Sunday against the Cardinals. The Vikings scored a late touchdown. It's going to seal the game, right? Extra point pending. They go up by 9. Game over. Instead, Greg Joseph said, yeah, okay. And he hit the upright on his extra point. Shit, clang. This kept it a 1-score game, forcing the Vikings to have to play defense and stop the Cardinals not once, but twice. It really didn't have to be that hard of a win. Number 4, Dallas Cowboys. I think this is the Dak Prescott that Cowboy fans have been talking about. On Sunday against the Bears, Dak looked elite. Cowboys offense said, hey, we can win games too. It's not just our defense. I'd like to add that Tony Pollard is a fucking beast. Now, admittedly, my bias against Ohio State makes me hate Zeke. I 100% admit that. But Tony Pollard needs to be the primary back in Dallas, and we all fucking know it. Forget about Zeke's pride, man. If they're going to keep on giving the ball to Zeke over Pollard, then that's their fucking problem and might be just reason why you guys lose in the playoff. The Cowboys roll past the Bears, move to 6-2, and look like one of the best teams in the NFL. Nuts. Number 3, Philadelphia Eagles. After being relatively quiet the last 5 games, A.J. Brown has himself a breakout day. Coming off the bye week, the Eagles show no rust whatsoever and absolutely steamroll the Pittsburgh Steelers. Hurts looks good. Miles Sanders looks good. A.J. Brown looks good. This defense looks good. Eagles are legit firing on all cylinders right now. Number 2, Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs were on a bye week, remain at 5-2. It was difficult for me to keep them above the Eagles because of the way the Eagles played on Sunday, but we all know how impressive this Chiefs team is. We all know that this NFL season is going to come down to one of 2 teams, and the Chiefs is one of them. Number 1, Buffalo Bills. You know, being a Bills fan, I don't know if you knew that. When the NFL schedule was released back in April, This Sunday night game against the Packers was one of the games that I circled in my mind. Fuck yeah. Sunday night football against the Packers, one of the best teams in football in Buffalo. National stage for everyone to see. This is going to be a true test for the Bills. And I was looking forward to it. As it turned out, this game was fucking boring. This game was pretty much over at halftime. And when the Bills came out in the second half, they looked like they were bored too. Have the Buffalo Bills become so good that primetime games against elite NFL franchises have become fucking boring? Have they become insignificant games? Oh my God, I don't mean to sound arrogant, but like this game, like it should have been so much more. I felt deflated watching it in the second half. It's like, I've been waiting all day for Sunday night. That's right, Carrie Underwood. And yet I'm feeling disappointed. All right, everyone knows about Josh Allen's talent, right? Statistically, he's having an MVP type season. But on Sunday night, on one specific play, he showed why his teammates would walk through fire for his ass. And why, even at his young age, he's one of the best leaders in the NFL. Josh Allen had yet again another impressive run where he juked a defender, lowered his shoulder, and got blasted by a defender at the goal line. And all Josh Allen did was jump up and get in the face of that defender and just started screaming, "I love that shit. I love that shit. I love that shit." He's not like one of these prissy quarterbacks in the league. You think Justin Herbert's going to do that? If I saw Justin Herbert make that same play, I could see him running back to the huddle, looking at his nails. You know, real men look at their nails like this. Justin Herbert looks at his nails like this. The bottom line is the leader of this team is Josh Allen. He plays with fire within him. This is why his teammates love him. This is why the city of Buffalo loves him. This is why Bills Mafia loves him. And this is why the Buffalo Bills are the best team in football. Go Bills. All right, fuckers. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Bills play the Jets. Cannot fucking win. It's gonna be a bloodbath.